We're live. We're live. We're live. Yes, thank you and welcome. Guys, I am super psyched to have Catherine Cavari on today. Not only does she play Miss Marvel in all of the Marvel animation stuff, but she's done a ton of film and TV and creates her own sketch comedy characters, which I am fascinated by, and I'll get into that soon. Hi and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I really am very excited to be here.
Super cool. People start trickling in. I'm very excited. Hi, Rebel Darius. Hi, Michelle Noir Studios. Gemini Gems saying hi. M Jasmine Live. Hi. Yes, I'm watching the chat, and I'll have, as they ask questions, I'll bring them up. But dude, so you, oh my God, you're a multi-talented, I want to say quadruple threat. I don't know if you sing and dance, but you do a ton of stuff.
But thank you. I mean, I do sing and dance. I don't know if anyone wants to hear it. I do it for myself and for whoever will watch and listen, but it's not on a professional level by any means.
I dance alone in my room and I sing in the shower. So
yes, all the time.
So you were born and raised in Oakland, California, to immigrant Iranian parents.
Yes.
Fabulous. When did you start believing, understanding, loving that the acting bug bit you? Was it as a young kid?
Yeah, I was a young kid. I'm an only child, and so there was a lot of and I watched a lot of TV because it was the 80s and 90s, and my parents were just like, "Great, here you go." I watched a lot of TV, and so because it was such a big part of my everyday life, I wanted to act very early on. And I used to again, I was an only child, so I used to watch things and then go back to my room and then reenact them. I'd practice crying in bed before it was time to go to sleep. It was just, I had to entertain myself. These are ways that I kept myself entertained. Yeah. And my parents knew it early on. I told them multiple times, and multiple times they were like, "That's hilarious. You're not doing that." Yeah, I literally told my dad, because my dad's very good at being a go-getter, and he's he can be very motivated if he wants to be. And on multiple occasions as a child, I was like, "Dad, can you just be my manager? Can you just represent me and try to get me out there?" And he was like, "I will do no such thing. I am not throwing you out to the sharks. You do what you want when you grow up. I will not be a part of it." And I was like, "All right, well, there goes that." So that's kind of how my childhood went. And then at one point in high school, they were like, "Okay, go to college, do whatever, get a degree in something useful, and then you can do whatever you want to do." Yeah. So that was the deal when I was 16.
So you went to med school?
No, I didn't go to medical school, but I did go. I went to. I studied public health at Berkeley, and then while I was there, I took theater classes. I loved them. But it was one of those situations where I was like, "Oh, this is really impractical." I didn't tell a lot of people that I wanted to do it because I was in the sciences at that point, and it was weird to be like, "Oh, by the way, I also want to be an actor." I just felt so, I just couldn't bring myself to say it. Yeah, it was this deep, dark secret. And then I decided, okay, I'm just gonna go the pre-med route. That's the best way forward. So I went straight to grad school right after undergrad, and I went to grad school.
God.
In London for a year. It was a 1-year master's program, and it was in London, and my school was right next to RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. And so my bus would go by there every single day, and I'd longingly look out the window I need to be there right now. And also we got really, really great discounted theater tickets as students in London. We had the prices were great and the seats were wonderful. And so I saw a lot of theater there. And it just wasn't going away. It got worse in London. And so I remember just calling my mom while I was there.
It got worse.
It got so much worse. It was eating away at me. And I called my mom. I was like, "This isn't going away." And she's like, "All right, whatever. You got your degrees. Come home, do whatever you want to do." And I was like, "All right, cool." I really needed them to be like okay with it because I'm an only child, you know, and I was just like, I can't have them feel miserable.
Oh my gosh.
So I did. I came back and I had spoken to one of my mentors in undergrad who I never disclosed to previously that I had like this dream all my life. And I came back and I was like, you know, I really want to act now. And he was like, huh. He's like, well, why do you want to act? And I was like, I don't know. I just like being different people. And he was like, you like being different people. Okay. You know, have you thought about maybe going to therapy?
Have you thought about psychology? Do you need some? Uh-huh.
That's exactly how it went down. He was like, have you thought about therapy? And I was like, okay, this is not the way that I thought the conversation was going to go. So I came home and I told my mom, and I was like, yeah, you know, my undergrad professor or mentor said this. And she was like, he asked if you wanted to go to therapy. I was like, yeah, not that there's anything wrong with therapy, but not for this particular instance of like, this is my dream. And he thought I was crazy. And then I just did whatever I could. I worked in public health in Oakland, and I took acting classes, whatever I could get my hands on. I did while I was in the Bay.
So when did you create? I mean, I know you've been on Big Little Lies. You've been on Insecure. When did you create your sketch comedy characters and do those videos? Was that before, in between?
That was before. So I had moved to New York after living in the Bay Area and doing whatever acting work I could get my hands on in the Bay Area. I moved to New York for a couple of years. While I was in New York, I had done a play where I played two characters.
Mm-hmm. Where was the play?
The play was at the, oh God, I'm so bad at name recall. It was called You Are Dead, You Are Here, and it was off Broadway at the theater that I'm going to find.
Theater for the New City.
It was
the Ohio Rep or something. Cherry Lane's a little bigger.
It wasn't Cherry Lane. It would have been cool if it was Cherry Lane. It was, this is so.
It's okay. I'm just curious because I lived there for 10 years.
It was near, it was downtown somewhere. Okay. It was near the Trump Tower, actually. It was like 2 blocks away from the Trump Tower.
You know, I've been to a theater down there, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Guys, so we don't know what it's called, but it exists. She's not lying.
It exists. It's there. We know that much. I'm trying to look it up as I'm talking. Can't find it. Anyway, so I did that play, and afterwards, you know, people would come to me and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was like 2 people doing the same character until like afterwards, and I looked at the, you know, the program and da-da-da-da, and I was like, oh, cool. At the same time, I had these agents and managers that like kept sending me out for very like stereotypically detrimental Middle Eastern roles, where it was just like I was, you know, the wife of a terrorist, the daughter of a terrorist, a woman hiding in a cave.
Did you always need to wear a hijab and speak in an accent?
Almost always. And I was always, there was one where I was a terrorist undercover as a prostitute. That was hilarious.
I mean, at least it was complex. She was 3-dimensional.
She was so complex. It was crazy. The line that really got me was when she said, the cops come to her door and knock on her door, and they're like, where are the bombs? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm merely a prostitute. And I was like, who wrote this terrible setup? So that was, so that was very disheartening. And that happened for 2 years. And everything that I got, like the theater stuff that I got, was all on my own. I had nothing to do with those reps. So I decided that I was gonna, like, I always liked character stuff. I always liked doing accents, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna like write my own little sketch where I play a bunch of different people. So I spent 4 months doing that, sort of like writing it and honing it, and then I moved to LA, and a good friend of mine, Shahab Rubari, who is a big stunt guy right now. Can
you tell me what year this was that you did this?
Yes, it was 2013.
Okay.
It was end of 2013, and then we shot it end of 2013. He directed it, and he did everything. It was we were setting it up where it was like 11 people talking. It was a roundtable discussion, and I was all 11 people. And then I sent that out in 2014. At the top of 2014, I sent that out to like a bunch of publications. Upworthy reposted it. That's when it like ended up going kind of viral. And then I also sent it to a bunch of agents and managers. No, I just did managers, to a bunch of managers. And I was like, this is what I can do, you know. Hey, I'm looking for representation. And at that point, I knew that I didn't want someone who was going to like pigeonhole me into like terrorist roles. So I was blessed enough that I sent it to like 150 different managers. Like I was
Holy cow.
It was like, I am going to do this. And it took like 3 days of just sitting there at the computer, like, this is what's going to happen. And then I got a few meetings. I ended up going with the people that were, you know, usual, the most excited or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they signed me as a literary talent. And I was like, oh, and they were like, what are your other ideas? And I was like, I have ideas, but I want other people to write those ideas. Like,
yes.
And then they had just opened up their theatrical side. So I was with them for literary for the beginning, and they opened up the theatrical, and I got signed for that. But they pushed me to write more. And that's how I continued to write, was because they were like, there's more there, you need to do it.
That's amazing.
So it's very cool. Yeah. And then that's what happened.
So is your the characters were in a series of videos, and they were called Reign of Terror or Brain of Terror Films is your production company?
So it started off as there was one sketch called Brain of Terror, and then a couple of years later, True TV had reached out to me and was like, we saw this, we love it, can you do more of these? Make it political.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And it was right before, it was like January 2016. So like a few months before the elections. And so I did 3 more sketches the way that they'd wanted it.
And they were all at the round table talking.
They were all the round table. There were 3 of them. And then like, I don't remember how long before it was supposed to air, like maybe a week or 2 before it was supposed to air. They were like, actually, we're going in a different direction. We're not going to air these anymore. Yeah, it was really infuriating. In fact, what they said was I was being too harsh on Trump. Those were some of the words that were given to me. And, you know, I got the videos back, so that was nice. I got them back, and I was able to just put them online.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to hold on to your material, because...
Absolutely not. Yeah. And I was very clear about that from the beginning, so thankfully I got that. But that's how the Reign of Terror has happened. It started with the Brain of Terror, then I got commissioned.
Cool. Danny, if you're listening, 007 checking in with you. Could you please get that link and put it in the chat, because everyone needs to watch this. They're so good. And I need to fangirl a little bit, because I watched these whenever you posted them on YouTube. And as I'm doing a little more reading on you so we can have this hang, I'm like, I've seen this. Oh my God, I've seen her. Oh my God. And I loved them. They're so good. Your characters are so well created. And I too do a sketch comedy web series where I play a bunch of different characters. And I think I think my first videos came out in 2016. And so somebody at some point shared one of your videos and was like, you need to see this girl. She's amazing. And I was like, I geeked out so much that I wrote to you. How, I don't know. Like, I found it at some point, it might have gotten lost in the ether, but I just was like, I don't know what I wrote to, because I'm sure I went to like a Twitter or a web page or something, whatever I could connect to. And I was just like, holy shit, this was so inspiring. Your character is so incredible. I remember this clearly. And because I loved that they were also different. I mean, your accents are on point, your character, your makeup, your everything. And you had this amazing political message. So I was like, holy shit.
Thank you.
And I found the email. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up!
I just Googled it. I just went to my emails. It's 2014. Yeah.
What do I say?
Do you want me to read the whole email?
I mean, is it long?
It's not that long.
Go.
I just watched your Brain of Terror and absolutely loved it. I think what you did was brilliant. I wanted to congratulate you. You're smart, incredibly talented, and of course beautiful. I'm an actress as well. I'm Colombian and deal with, oh my God, this is what a small world. I'm so glad you told me about this. If you're down for coffee, let me know. And then I said, oh yeah, this is when you were in NYC, because you're like, if you're down for coffee, I'd love to meet like-minded people. You do live in NYC, right? And I said, hi, Carolina. Thank you for the very kind email. I'm glad that the movie resonated with you. I'm sure you go through a lot of BS as well. Unfortunately, I recently moved to LA, so I'm no longer in NYC. But if you ever find yourself on the West Coast, please do let me know. And I'd love to sit down and chat. And now here we are sitting down and chatting.
Well, so as I was doing the research and saw the videos, I'm like it's all coming back to me. And I'm like, I wrote to her because when I see good acting, I need to like let people know I admire your work.
That's very
and then the crazy thing is, of course, I didn't remember to reach out to you when I moved out to LA. Like,
there's so many things along the way that you can't even remember that kind of stuff.
So, guys, y'all who are watching, I met Kat because I go to visit my girlfriends who have these baby girls in a neighborhood of LA, and I always play in the cul-de-sac with them because they're like my little goddaughters. And it was this random like Saturday gathering where the whole neighborhood is out, and they're all young parents with toddlers. And then you come along, and I'm like, oh, she doesn't have kids. We're kind of similar. And I just laughed because I was like, no, they're not mine, but I play with them all the time. But it was funny. We connected over the voice acting, but.
Ambulance.
Mic off.
A van. Vanilla. Butterscotch. Blueberry.
I think, yeah. So Danny does connect it, but it shouldn't be a problem. Hand acting, yes. We're voice actors.
There we go.
Hand actors. Oh, we're back! Ah! Danny, I couldn't hear you. Were you alive? Oh, shit. Okay, cool. Guys, celebrate for Danny. She did it. Yeah, we were talking about doing face acting and hand acting and charades. What were we saying? Oh, that I met you. So we met at this neighborhood party thingy, and then you're like, I voice act in this tiny little franchise that nobody knows about, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And then we connected on Instagram, and then the pandemic happened.
And then you helped me set up my home studio. Which
did you end up going with the microphone and that stuff?
Yes, I have all the equipment that you recommended, and now my closet is my favorite place in the house.
Well, mine is where I record, but it's not my favorite place because I literally can barely move. Like it's so tight.
I recently got like a little chair, like those bleacher chairs that you can get where it's just like. But it has an armrest. It's very comfortable. It's transformed significantly since I got this chair.
So do you? So let's continue going into this acting thing. So I'm so happy we connected. How crazy, man, that I'd written to you before.
So crazy.
But your characters really they're fucking stunning. And like when I see stuff like Insecure and Broad City being made, and then I don't know if you watched a thing on Netflix called Characters.
I didn't.
It came out a few years ago, and it was basically they gave sketch comedy actors a whole episode to do whatever they wanted with their characters for that episode. And it's 8 episodes, and you have a bunch of like comedic actors. Some of them have been on SNL, some of them weren't so well known, but basically they do that. And it's like there is a space for this, that is bigger than YouTube, which is where we've put our stuff. Yeah. I mean, you got some attention. I didn't really. I just put it up on YouTube.
I mean, YouTube is also one. Yeah, that's the thing. I spent a lot of time sending it to publications because I was like, I've done stuff before. I've put stuff on YouTube and there's nothing happens. And I was like, all right, well, let me just get this going just so I could get the reps. That was like the prime motivation.
Absolutely. No, and I also believe that once you put something out there, like I remember a woman did say, "Oh, I want to put your stuff on HBO Latino," but I knew it could take a year to come out, and for me, it was like, I'm making this for myself to put it out in the world, and whoever wants to see it will. And yeah, I've gotten work from it, so it's like it serves its purpose, And mine was shot with an iPhone and edited on iMovie. Yours is like the production value is way bigger. So there's places for things, right?
For sure.
But I do think that it is like your calling card. You're showing them that you're not just a Muslim terrorist.
I'm hoping that's what I'm putting out there.
And is your family Muslim?
So they were born Muslim. My some of my family members do practice. My grandmother does. A lot of my aunts and uncles do. My parents never really did. They sort of kept things very secular in the home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do come from a Muslim family.
And do you speak Farsi?
I do. My parents, my mom took me to Iran every other year since I was 9.
Oh, wow.
So, and we would spend like whole summers there. And I was forced to step my game up with my language because otherwise it just would have been a disaster. So, yeah, I had peers that were my age that I played with that helped me get my Farsi better. So I do speak Farsi. Cool. Thanks to my mother, because my mom speaks Farsi with me all the time. My dad, ever since I was little, we've been speaking English together.
Yeah. And does Kamala Khan speak Farsi sometimes? Or do they not?
No, Kamala Khan is Pakistani.
She's Pakistani!
Yeah,
so
my bad. Yeah. Well, she doesn't. Does she throw some Urdu words around? I want to say she has. Not that often, but her parents have made appearances throughout the various episodes. And that's always been lovely, is seeing her dynamic with her family, because it does remind me of my dynamic.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you how you got the role of Miss Marvel, what it meant to you, how you felt the difference. Have you gotten to meet some of the fans? Have you gone to the Comic Cons or San Diego Comic Con with it? Like, it's such a big deal to have this character exist. It's so beautiful, and they are making a TV show about it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's huge. No, I mean, when I before I had gotten the audition for it, a good friend of mine who is a big comic book head, he was like, "Oh, have you heard of this character, Ms. Marvel? She's the first Muslim female character that Marvel's had that headlines her own series. Have you heard of her?" And I was like, "No, I haven't, but that's really, really cool." Because at that point, I was also being very vocal about representation, especially for Manasa characters and people. And he was telling me about her. He was like, "She's badass," and and I was like, "That's so cool." So he told me about her, I think it was in December, and then in January I got the audition, and I was like, "Oh, cool! This is what my friend Steve was talking about." And then I submitted the audition, and as you submit tons of auditions, you don't remember them, and then you forget all about it, and then it came back "Okay, you got this." And I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool." It was also my first animation role that I had gotten. And I was like, I didn't know how long it was going to last, because that was for Avengers Assemble. That was as a recurring role in Avengers Assemble. And so when I first showed up to my first day of recording, I remember Colette Sunderman was like, "Welcome to the Marvel family." And I was like, cool. But I thought it meant like for the day. And I didn't know it was like, welcome to the Marvel family, because I didn't want to get too excited about it. So I was like, all right, welcome to the Marvel family for today. That's what was in my head. And then,
which is better than thinking there's going to be this huge thing and then it's this tiny thing. So like, it's always better to have like low expectations.
Very low expectations. I have learned that is the way to always function in this world and in this business especially. But and then it kept going, and then the Marvel Rising stuff came to be. And yes, I have gone to Comic-Con with it, with Marvel Rising. It was incredible. Interacting with the fans is the best thing in the world. It's so great because it's so many like young fans, a lot of like fans who are Muslim, just incredibly underrepresented, faction of society where Kamala means a lot to them, and in turn meant a lot to me. And those cons can be really overwhelming. And the first time I went to New York Con, I was so nervous because I was like, I've never done this, and I wanted to do the character proud and like do justice to, like, I don't want people to be like, oh, that's the one they picked, for this role. So I was like, I didn't sleep the night before, but after that I did the San Diego Con, and it was just, it was wonderful. It's just such a good time. And it meant so much to me to be able to voice her, because she did mean so much to so many people. And especially like, I grew up, for me, like seeing the representation that I had was, I don't know if you were familiar with Not Without My Daughter. It was a movie, it was like a made for TV movie with Sally Field, Alfred Molina. And it was about an Iranian family that the family wasn't Iranian, the man was Iranian. Alfred Molina was Iranian, and he,
of course,
he takes his whole family to Iran, his children and his wife, and then like suddenly turns and decides he's gonna like keep his children in Iran, and like Sally Field has to like find a way of taking her children back to America with her.
Oh my God.
And I was in elementary school when this came out, and I just remember like other people be like, what a great movie, and me being like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is terrible. And that was, the representation that I grew up with, and that was kind of like how people saw that region. And that's why. Well,
and not to mention that like Iran has always been just, everything's one big clusterfuck over there. They don't know the difference between Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, Dubai. Like, it's just all like, they're all people with turbans,
Yeah, exactly. It's all one big place with somewhat brown in skin tone. It's like everyone looks the same, and
Muslim equals terrorists, so it's always just,
and they're all violent. Like that's just how it goes. And for me, like growing up with like, especially like a very loving father, because it's always like the man who's like the violent, oppressive one, and growing up with like such like a loving, goofy, sensitive, emotional, just like fun dad, like that was the most disheartening part for me, because people was like, oh, your dad, is he like really overprotective, is he like really scary? And I'm like, okay, he is overprotective because I'm an only child and I'm a girl, but he's also like the most lovely person there is. I mean, he cries off of commercials, he would go to Toys R Us with me, and I'd have to like drag him out of the store, like, all right, Dad, let's go now. So it's so plain. Yeah, exactly. And so it's just, that's why Kamala also just meant so much to me, because it was like, oh, finally, some sort of representation that actually like shows a loving Muslim family,
Talon Poppy comments, Kamala and Miles are such amazing and good reps, and it's fantastic they've been appearing more and more in so many works. Thank you, Talon. Let me know where you're at, because I don't think I know what country you're in. So what was your parents' reaction to this? Like, have they watched some of the series? Have they gotten to accompany you to a con?
They have not. They have not come with me to a con. My husband came with me to all the cons and dressed as Kamala in all of them, which is hilarious because he's like in tights and.
No. Oh shoot! Is it Kamala or Kamala?
It's Kamala.
Kamala. My bad. Okay.
No, it's okay. It's hard because we also have
Kamala. Yes. I was trying to be all good about it.
I know. Each one is their own. Yeah. But it's Kamala. Kamala.
Kamala. Okay.
Kamala. Yes.
Cool. Let's just call her Miss Marvel.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh my God. Your husband is freaking amazing.
Yeah, he was very supportive and lovely.
I want to see a picture of him dressed up.
Oh yeah, let me see if I can. I definitely put it on my Instagram when it happened. I think the first time he did it was San Diego Comic-Con, and he was all about it. And then he did it at WonderCon. He took every opportunity that he could to show up.
He doesn't act, right? Is he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He works. He's a product manager for the LA Clippers. He's completely
different.
In a different, thankfully.
I got invited to a convention in Colombia. My parents still live there, and so I got to go as my video game character. And I invited my parents to come and see what the whole deal of a Comic-Con was. They've never been, and they, obviously they sat in on the panel and watched me answer questions. And I was like, okay, well, you guys can go have lunch. I have to sign autographs for 2 hours. Dude, they both stood by a pole, and saw the line wrap around and watched me interact with every fan for 2 hours. My dad is freaking 70 something, and he stood the whole time and just watched. And then a girl left crying after I'd hugged her, and he was like, "Is she okay? Should I go hug her?" I'm like, "Dad, no, you're a stranger. Don't touch her." But he was worried because she told me this harrowing story, and I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of what it is." But it was really cute. So I'm like, if you can ever take your parents to one of these, they would be so freaking proud.
They would be really, really into it. I haven't, because I'm also this seems like it would be an overwhelming place to take them.
For sure.
I also promised I would take my dad, my husband first. But yeah, I certainly, they're incredibly supportive now, and they're incredibly, when they first came to see me in the play in New York, that's when I think things changed for them, because my mom cried during the play, and she's not a big crier, and she couldn't talk about the play for the rest of the time, and I was like, haha, got you, I was like, finally, everyone's on my side. So, but it was, once we had that turn, I think they became very, they were on board. Yeah. They were on board fully. Yeah.
That's amazing. Also, because you're representing your people and doing justice to that, and and also you're in the biggest franchise of all time. So it's not like you're just doing rinky dink, stuff.
That certainly helps. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't find the picture, it's fine. You don't have to. It's here.
I'm just trying to scroll. I've posted a lot over the years, but I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, cool. The other question I was gonna ask was, so then the IMDb stuff with Miss Marvel is in a bunch of different things. Do you record pretty often for them, or they do it in big chunks? How often are you recording new stuff for that character?
Actually, haven't recorded anything new for them in a while. When I was recording, it was in chunks, but it's been a couple of years that we haven't done anything. The last thing we did was for all the Marvel Rising stuff, and that was a big push and a rollout. We did we did those in pretty much in chunks.
What does she sound like, so that viewers can listen if they haven't yet? Could you give me a few little lines?
Sure. Oh my goodness, is that Captain Marvel? Embiggen!
Oh wow, she's young. She sounds really young.
She's young.
I can't help but imagine somebody like Malala, who's just so mature at her young age. So I imagined a very
a more mature
sounding voice. But I love that she feels so young.
She's very young, and I think it's also because she's she's just coming into her powers. She's just learning about this, and she's still such a fangirl. She's always loved comics. These are her heroes. She gets to work alongside her heroes.
Yeah.
So she's she's got a very youthful joy about her, and it really does come through. I found the picture. You guys can see.
Oh my god, dude. He is so freaking adorable.
This is very cute. Yeah, this was at Comic-Con a few years ago, and this is him without they had the embiggen fist that they gave to everybody.
Oh my god. And that's you.
That's me. Yeah, that was me with my short hair.
I love your hair.
Thank you. It was the first time I had cut it since like middle school, and so it was like a really, really big,
a little bob.
It was a really big deal because I definitely cried afterwards.
Oh my God! Well, they had found the picture apparently. Itchy Banjo's like, I found it on her husband's page. I hope it's an open page because, or else you're being. We have a lot of good searchers on the internet here.
Yes,
okay, so has since Miss Marvel, have you done a lot more voice acting? You know, do you constantly go out for animations, or what's the world of voice acting like for you?
Yes, thankfully this past year has been really lovely. I just put on my Instagram, I did for a PS5 video game, Destruction All Stars. I'm Twinkle Riot, and then
great name.
Great name. She's very spunky. She's from the UAE, and
cool.
I am going to be.
Wait, does she speak with an accent?
She does have an accent, yes.
Can you give us a flavor?
Sure. She's very cheerful. It's hello, I'm so excited to be here. Woohoo!
Oh my gosh, she's like Mario but Arab. It's me, a Twinkle Riot. Twinkle Riot.
I put a little video of her in on my Instagram today, and she goes, Salam, hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh my God, so the diva waifu here.
Funky.
We have somebody who plays Twinkle Riot.
Oh,
cool.
Yay!
Yes.
What's funny is I just found out last week that it was out. It's been out since February, and I had no idea until last week.
You are hilarious. We need to get you more into the gaming world because
I know. I guess so.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, but I've had to learn via my followers when things come out. So I thank them profusely because
for letting you know.
Yeah,
you'd have no idea either.
Yeah.
And then I have there's another animation that's coming out on Netflix called Dead India. I voice a character called named Badia in that one that's coming out. That's I think they were slating for June. I don't know if that, or the summer. I don't know if that's still happening. And then there's another animation that I can't speak of that I will be voicing. I don't know when that's going to be announced, but that's something that's going to happen.
Amazing. Do you know what's interesting is my 10 years in New York, I auditioned for a lot of Latina prostitutes, a lot of wives of narco dealers, obviously, or just ghetto like Latina chicks who were all like, you know, like baby mamas, but they're always angry at their baby daddy and they want the money or whatever. And so it was getting annoying to just audition for these roles because I had to put on an accent because little white looking me with this accent didn't seem Latina enough. So I was kind of really annoyed at auditioning for these parts. And not that I wanted to audition for Caucasian roles, but I just didn't want this stereotypical stuff.
Yeah.
But then in voice acting, it's funny because since I moved to LA 3 years ago, like I auditioned for a bunch of different characters, but a lot of them are Hispanic. And so I do Mexican accent, Argentinian, Brazilian, Spanish, whatever. But now I feel like I embrace the accents and the levels of, like, do they talk like this, like Sofia Vergara? Or is it this like little thing where maybe they grew up in Miami and so they're kind of Latino, but also American? But I feel like it's different because we get to use our voices to represent our people because it is about the voice and it's not about like this look and this very stereotyped thing. So I asked you if Twinkle Riot had an accent because I feel like in video games, it has been a really big representation for people all over the world to hear characters that sound like them. Instead of having an Arab character that just sounds American, it's cool to be playing in Kuwait because Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, they're huge gamers, huge. All of the UAE, like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, have huge Comic-Cons because they love gaming. So if they're hearing Twinkle Riot like themselves, rather than just like an American voice,
standard American accent,
it really does make them feel represented positively. So that's why I think for gaming, it's a really beautiful thing. And it's cool to like embrace that, you know?
Yeah. And then also, I mean, like, they're not doing anything like crazy, you know, they're not like, they're fun characters, right? Like they're characters that you are proud of and that like you are happy to voice. So it's like, then the accent doesn't become like a representation of something like more sinister. It's actually just like, oh no, like look, she's driving a car, you know. It's like then it's not you don't feel bad about representing the accent in like in a negative way.
Right, like you're not blowing shit up. Wait, maybe you are blowing shit up, but
you are.
We're in a video game.
Yeah. Supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun. Yeah, I mean, and I, again, yes, I just think about it so much in video games and how I've had like full-grown adult men come up to me and thank me for representing a Mexican character in such a beautiful light, because they get to play her and show their kids what she can be and not have her just be.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. I did not realize that about gaming at all. So thank you for enlightening me. But
if you need any gaming con tips, most of my world of Comic Cons is completely all about gaming, even though I do a lot of animated stuff. So I've learned to kind of understand this world that we think is tiny, but it's actually humongous. Like we have 50 million players of Overwatch all over the world.
Wow.
And I've gotten to travel. Like the reason I went to Kuwait and the Philippines and Australia was because gamers wanted to meet Overwatch voices. So cool. To me, it's like mind blowing that our games transcend. Like I met women in Kuwait thanking me for sombra, and I was like, and they were dressed up as sombra in their full little hijabs. Like
that's so cool.
Like I wanted to cry, you know, because it was this cross pollination of cultures. Yeah. It was crazy.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, so let's move on to your TV stuff, because I'm so curious to see what working on Insecure was like, because Issa Rae is just, you know, a force of nature, and she's so talented, and she wrote her own stuff, and it was a web series that then became an HBO show, right? Yes, HBO.
Yes.
So what was that like, auditioning and then knowing you got it, and then like you're in this show that's doing so well, and you get to work with such a creator?
It was okay. So first of all, the way I had became acquainted with Issa was that I had known about, you know, Awkward Black Girl for a while. We had a web series in New York called Famous Farrah, and we ran ads for Famous Farrah on Awkward Black Girl's newsletter.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, crazy. And then when I moved to LA and I released Brain of Terror, I had seen that Issa shared it on her Google. Was it called Google Plus? Is that what it was called then?
One of those. Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had shared it there. And then the reps that I had just signed with, I was like, oh my gosh, Issa Rae just posted Brain of Terror. Like, can you set up a meeting with her? So then I had a general meeting with Issa, and we just sat down and chatted. And, you know, I don't remember what we talked about, but it was a very nice meeting. And then after that, I kind of stayed in touch with her. And I had written a sketch, like a sketchuational comedy, kind of like a Portlandia with my writing partner, and we were going to do a table read, and I texted Issa and I was like, hey, would you come to my table read? This is before Insecure. And I was like, would you come to my table read? She was like, sure. Do you want to be in my HBO pilot? Except you won't have a line in it. And I was like, yeah, definitely. Thanks. This doesn't seem like an even exchange, but I'll take it. And so
I love that she's telling you you won't have a line, but you're like, but this is still great. It's like
but I don't care. Yeah, exactly. I was like, whatever. I'll be there. Yeah. So I did. She came to the table read, and then I was able to be in her pilot, and then
the rest
that was that. Yeah. So she's just an incredibly wonderful person. She's very she really does. You know, she didn't wait to reach a certain level to extend opportunities to people that she knew. As soon as she had that opportunity, she passed it on, which I think is very admirable, and it's very risky for her to do that, and she still did it. Yeah. And you know, even now I'll text her, I'll bother her randomly for whatever it is, questions that I have, or she's a great guide, and she's very generous with her knowledge and time, and so I'm very grateful to Issa.
Yeah, well, I think she's also a trailblazer who, she saw talent in you, obviously, to extend that invitation. You weren't just a rando chick who's like, I want to be an actress, but I haven't done anything for myself. You have put in the work, and you are super talented. So, you know, it goes both ways. I think that you knew to say yes to that pilot because you saw her talent. She was seeing you. So that's so amazing. And it's just so great to hear that she's also a fabulous person that extends her, you know, knowledge to other people to be able to help, because
It's really nice. It's, you know, like there's so often you hear people that are allies of other artists, and then you hear like the actual horror stories behind the scenes, and you're like, oh man, but you know, everyone thinks you're wonderful. She's not. She really is who people say she is. She really is just wonderful.
Awesome. You know, at cons when we take a lunch break and we have to come back, like everyone just comes through the back and like comes out to the front of their table to sign autographs again. And I always go around and stand in my own line. And then like I'll stand behind somebody and I'll be like, who are you in line for? And they're like, Sombra. And I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, I heard the voice actress is kind of a bitch. And they're like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I think she's cool. I hope she's nice. And they keep kind of looking to see who'll come out. And I'm like, and I keep asking them questions. And I'm like, so what's the deal? What does Sombra do? And they're like, she's a hacker in Overwatch. Oh my God, it's you! And then, you know, but I love to kind of like see what they'll say. Like, what I've heard she's cool, and they're all really nice. No one said, yeah, she's kind of a dick, but I still want her autograph. So
just throw it on eBay. I don't really care about her personality. Yeah.
Anyway, so
that's so awesome. What a fun thing to do.
You should try it. It's really fun. And then like after the first kid notices, then I'll be like, shh, and then I'll move along the line. I'll be like, sorry, I'm cutting. Is it cool? And they're like, hey, no, we've been standing around. Oh my God, it's Sombra. Like I'm gonna get
I love it. That's so much fun.
So I do want to talk about Big Little Lies, but before, I need to hear all about Embrace. You produced this, you wrote it, you acted it, it went to festival. Like, tell me all. I just produced and acted my first feature, and I'm scared shitless.
Congratulations!
Yeah, I'm scared shitless. We're editing. It's been worse than giving birth. Like, how do you?
That's huge to be able to like actually have made a feature. That's almost impossible. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
I'm still dealing with the postpartum pain.
I know. But yeah, it's wonderful that you're actually in post right now. Really, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, again, my writing partner and I wrote it in end of 2016. It's been a long journey. And then Refinery 29 came on as the producers. And then we shot like it was really like a concept short to help us with the pitch. And then they were like, oh, we're going to submit it to festivals. And we're like, all right, sure. Like once we shot it, go ahead. We shot it. They sent it to festivals. Then like a couple months later, they were like, it got into Sundance. We're like, what? And so that was fun because we got to go to Sundance. And that was last year, right before the pandemic fully hit. Although I swear I think I got COVID at Sundance, but my antibody test says otherwise.
Okay. But you got to go to Sundance.
I got
Holy cow.
And that was very, very, very cool. It was very surreal. And I'm also really lucky because I get to do this with a writing partner and to be able to share, together, like our dream together and to be in these spaces together is very rewarding. And then we were going to go to South by, and South by shut down. But then we found out that we won the pilot competition at South by Southwest. So that was very cool. And then now we're going out and pitching it. Hopefully somebody will want it, or otherwise it'll die. But
can you tell us the premise of this story?
Sure. It's
sorry, is there a trailer? I didn't look it up. I wasn't sure.
There isn't a trailer. Okay. There isn't much out there because it's still sort of wrapped or whatever. But it's about a girl who is in medical school. She's in her 4th year of medical school, and then her mom, who's a teacher, finds out that she has gotten laid off. And her parents can't afford to live in the United States anymore, so they decide they're going to move back to Iran.
Wow.
And as to save their financial situation, she starts a side hustle that is a surprise.
Okay, cool.
It's out there. I feel like, is it out there? I don't remember if it's actually out there what her side hustle is.
Maybe she starts an article.
It was an article?
No, I'm saying maybe it's in an article somewhere. But no, I don't want you to spoil it.
I've lost track. But okay, she starts a surprising side hustle. And it takes place in Oakland. It's like a comedy drama. And
you act the main role.
And I am the girl who's doing all of this. I'm the main role. And we wrote it with my writing partner, and it's been, a journey. So we'll see what happens with it next. But that's been very cool.
Congrats. That's a big deal. And to get to, I mean, though South by and Sundance are everybody's dream. So holy.
Yeah, it was a very surreal year last year. So it was really, and then everything shut down. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess.
Yeah, you know, we all get this momentum. Like, I just got these new managers last year, and I'm like, okay, pilot season is gonna be it this year. And then we're like, no. So yeah.
Yeah, I relate. Yes,
we've all learned the hard lessons we've had to this year.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where and you know, I've actually just wrote a feature, well, a couple years as well, but I'm still like in the very early stages of doing anything with that. But hearing that you have made your feature has inspired me to see what is possible in this world.
Well, and we made it during COVID. We shot it in November.
Wow.
It has to do with the pandemic, but it's just about a gamer / cosplayer that I play living alone during quarantine and have to deal with her demons. And we shot it with such a tiny crew precisely because of COVID. So sometimes you just find the way because of the circumstances. But
Sure.
I love that those literary agents that you got at the beginning pushed you to keep writing, because you were like, I did my characters, I'm done. But you kind of, you know, you found this thing that you do well, you know, besides acting, obviously.
Yes, I am grateful for that, because I definitely, I mean, writing is very rewarding in its own way, because you do really get to, like, you know, as you know, build a whole world from scratch, and you're not really depending on anyone else to create your own story. You know, when you're acting, you're sort of depending on someone else to hire you for stuff. Yeah. But with writing, there's a lot of control that you have. And I would not have done that had it also takes so long to write, and I would not have done that had they not suggested that I keep going. So I am very grateful for that.
Yeah. So we will wrap up in 8 minutes. Catherine has a very important phone call. No. I always wrap up quickly, but I'm going to be specifically very punctual for you. Talk to me about Big Little Lies. That show is fucking incredible. I've obviously enjoyed it. It's intense, it's funny, it's everything. I always like to know, like, what was the feeling when you booked it, because you go, oh my god, like, this cast is insane. What was it like being on set? Like, I think on set is my favorite time of all time. So, like, you know, share a little bit of this experience.
Yeah, I mean, when I booked it, when I found out I booked it, I was in I was like walking around the streets of San Francisco. It was like Christmas Eve. I was with my family, and then I got a call from my reps, and I don't even know what I did. I think I might have like blacked out or something, because I was just so excited and I couldn't believe it. At that point, was it a recurring role? Because sometimes they start off as a guest star, but then they grow. Like, how was this? It was a recurring from the get.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be a limited series, so it was just they had already had the order for the limited series, so it was like, you're going to be in whatever 6 episodes.
I throw coffee on myself.
Yeah. So I literally every day I spill drinks on myself. I don't know. There's a whole
tools. Mercy, you just came back with coffee. She's watching us, and I'm feeling connected with you and your coffee. Okay. Okay. So you got this recurring role,
and then I was like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. And then the first day of work, it was a table read, and they were all there. It was weird. The whole thing was very surreal and strange. Like, there was Nicole Kidman was there, and then Reese Witherspoon was just like so nice and like welcoming, and like went around and introduced herself to every single person, and it was very bizarre. Like, it was like a dream sequence, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then being on set, like, I met all the people that played parents on set, all the people that were in the interrogation room playing parents. We all became very close because we had like 2 weeks of night shoots.
Oh my god.
That it was practically, it was almost 2 weeks of night shoots. And so we were together from like whatever was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the freezing cold, in like dresses, and we really became very close. We're still on a group chat with each other. We still see each other. They're all very, very lovely people. Yeah. So it really was probably one of the best experiences that I had, and it was that was a great year. It was bizarre.
What year did you shoot this? I mean, I watched it.
That was 2016. Yeah, 2016 when we shot that. Yeah.
It's crazy because like sometimes you book a role. Like I've gotten to work opposite Dominic West for a couple scenes in a show, but it was just, I meet Dominic West and that's it. And then like I meet, Rami Malek for 2 seconds and we work together and it's really short. But like you show up at this cast reading and it's not just like Meryl Streep. It's like, they're all stars and they're all incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely intimidating. It's for sure it's very intimidating. It's overwhelming. Like I did, and then my dad kept calling me and being like, "You should tell Nicole Kidman about a script that you're going to write for her that she should be in." And I was like, "What are you saying? No, this is a terrible idea." And he's like, "No, I'm telling you." I was like, "I don't have a script for Nicole Kidman." And he's like, "You should just tell her that you do and just, engage with her." And I was like, I'm so happy you aren't here right now because you're going to like get me kicked off of this show.
You're like, I just need to do my job.
Yeah. I just need to like not poop my pants while I'm here and then we can like be fine. So yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
Wow. Well, congratulations. What a big deal. Like all those are incredible. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to mention, your socials that you'd like to let the chat know about, things coming up that they can keep an eye out for? I know there's stuff you can't talk about, but...
Sure. I think it's just Dead Endy on Netflix. That's going to come out at some point this year, I think, or end of this year. Something else that's going to come out on Nickelodeon at some point. Sweet. And then, my social is just Catherine Kavari on Instagram. And that's the thing I'm most active on. I'm usually on my Twitter to, yell at politics. Either talk politics or yell at a company for like screwing me in some way. So that's what I usually use Twitter for.
I don't like using Twitter for negative things, but once AT&T fucked me over for 3 days and I had no cell phone service and they weren't helping, and I finally was like, I find it incredible that your service blah blah blah. In 2 seconds, they were like on it, and I'm like, oh, I see.
Yeah, I know. That's why my Twitter is really not very exciting because you'll just see me like yelling at companies. That's kind of that's how that goes. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, the spelling of Catherine Kavari's name is in my on Twitch and on my Insta, so you can find her easily. Please check out the web series. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like the characters are just seamless. I want to shout out 4 people who cheered bits and subscribed. If you would like to help me with this, Catherine, I would love it if Twinkle Riot can give them a shout out after I mention their name. Does that sound like a plan?
Sure, let's do it.
Cool. So subscribe for 2 months, Mono Duran.
Yes, Mono Duran, thank you for subscribing.
Yes. Lily, oh God, I hate these screen names. Lila Lonaber cheered 300 bits.
Lila Lonaber, thank you so much.
Thank you. And then Aurelis Blizzholics is in Ecuador. Thank you for cheering 100 bits. Aurelis Blizzholics.
Blizzholics, you are wonderful. Woohoo!
Yes. Humungus 83 subscribed with Prime.
Humungus 83, you are great. We love you.
Yes. And the last one is Mercy Yura, who's in Wales, asked me to say Ray's voice line. Ray's is my Brazilian character in a Riot video game. I think it goes like this. I haven't said it in a million years. Cypher, I'm so sorry about breaking all your stuff. I mean, I won't stop, but I am sorry. Yay, ooh woo. So that's that, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Kat, you're fucking rad. I can't wait to see your project get picked up. It's so beautiful. Congratulations on that. Keep writing. I hope you get more video games because the gaming community is actually really, really generous and embracing. I love it. So.
Oh, yay. I'm excited. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. This was super fun for me. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Guys, you keep booming and booping. Boop.